What's up, y'all? It's Jonathan Owens. We're gonna break down another episode, and this one's gonna be good. So let's go. So, man, yeah, I mean, this episode right here, I get it because if you saw it in the title, many people have affinity for their tattoos. So, if you're a Christian, you might ask yourself, and you probably asked yourself already before. So, we're just gonna tackle this question. So, let's go to the root of this, because where did the tattoos come from? Like, where did the idea, or why is this even a question, or does the Bible even talk about it? Well, we gotta go back, and you probably already know this passage, so we'll go back to Leviticus to see, kind of like get an idea of, like, did the Bible ever talk about tattoos, and did it ever deem it right or wrong? So let's take a look at this verse, and then we'll get right into it. So look at this. So we have this Leviticus 19, starting the 26th verse. So you shall not eat anything with the blood, nor shall you practice divination, soothsaying. It's like witchcraft and sorcery. You shall not shave around the sides of your head, nor shall you disfigure the edges of your beard. You shall not make the cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor tattoo any marks on you. Now, how can we say this? The goal of reading this was to say God's original intent was not to tattoo anything on your body. He told the children of Israel. So if that was God's design, why did He ever allow it? Like in the New Testament, why like? Well, we see that there's many things that God originally had said and deemed that He didn't want them to do it. Why? Because most likely in this scenario, what God often did is that these actions mimic other ungodly nations. So that God was always just trying to set His people apart. So, and then other reasons that He did it for other just health wise, the dietary laws or whatever the case may be. So, but in the New Testament, we see people all the time. People today have tattoos and everything. And do they have the grace to have these things? Yes, you do. But I guess the question that we're trying to answer is, what would you have in heaven? So this is the part we got to get understanding. So this part right here is going to be crucial. So I want you to understand this part. What is the purpose of tattoos? What is the purpose of them? You may ask yourself, well, I got something on my mom. I just want to remember her because she passed 2 years ago. Or I want to get something because this is a motivational saying that I love. And so I needed to get this. Or this one to commemorate like our marriage. We got tattooed the rings on our fingers. Or this is X, Y, and Z. So all these are good things. But were we supposed to get tattoos to commemorate those things? What was the reason for us doing that? What was the reason for us doing that and changing our bodies to mark that event? Why did we feel that was necessary to do? So that's the purpose of why most people get it. They want to commemorate some type of event, but they want to mark it on their body as a lifelong, test. It makes me remember every time I see that tattoo. So I get it now, but in heaven, what would it look like? What does God talk about? Who we will be, or how our bodies will look? 1 Corinthians 15. This is important. So let's check this out. So we got 1 Corinthians 15, starting the 42nd verse. It says, so also is the resurrection of the dead. The body is sown in corruption and is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor. It is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness. It is raised in power. It is sown a natural body. It is raised a spiritual body. There's a natural body and there's a spiritual body. And so it is written, the first Adam became a living being. The last Adam became a life-giving spirit. Why is this important? Oh, okay. Because we just saw the purpose of why people get the tattoos. But then we also saw that our bodies will be glorified because it was sown in dishonor, it was sown in corruption, but it's going to be raised in honor and raised in incorruption. Man, John, what does that mean? If our bodies are right now, we are sinful, we have done sinful things, our bodies are corrupted, and it has made us do corrupted things. Our minds are corrupted, everything is corrupted. But God is going to restore all of that and turn it into incorruptions and honor. So when people do certain things to commemorate an event or whatever by having it on their bodies, you thought to do that from a mindset that was here on earth, from a worldly mindset. You thought to do that because it was like you're here. You're thinking as somebody who is in flesh. You're thinking as somebody that's like just a regular human. What does that mean? It doesn't mean like your thought of your loved one or whatever is bad. It means that your thought to commemorate them on your body was a decision from our human mindset. The reason why this is important is because God is like, if you are going to be in heaven with me and that person is already in heaven, then there's no need for that to still be on your body because you're gonna be able to see them right there. Now, what if the person wasn't a godly person? It was in hell. Then why would God allow you to commemorate something of a picture of somebody on your body that has made a decision to deny Him and not give Him glory, and that's where they are forever? Then there's no way that will still be on your body printed to commemorate somebody who is in God's eyes sinful. You get what I'm saying? So you made a decision to do this while here on earth from a fallen state, a fallen mindset. So when you are glorified in your new body, it's gonna go into heaven with a new mindset, new thinking, a new reality. Everything is gonna be new, and there's gonna be no need to have this slogan of confirmation on your arm, because God is all the confirmation you're gonna need. There's no need to have this statement on your arm for courage, because you're gonna have full courage in the Holy Spirit. There's not gonna need to be any basically courage, because there's gonna be no fear. So everything that you needed to have the tattoo for, from a fleshly mindset, there's going to be no need to even need it anymore, because you're going to be in heaven. So why would God allow you to keep that first? Because He never wanted it in the Old Testament, but He allowed you to have it in the New Testament with grace. But why would He even let you keep that when it signifies something that you're not even going to need, because it's not going to be represented anymore? Because either the person is in hell and you won't be able to see them anyway, and that means they're ungodly, or the person is in heaven, so there's no need for that face of that person to be on your body anymore. Now, the second point to be made about this is that what type of bodies will we have? We kind of like touched on it a little bit, but the second passage is gonna kind of like give us an idea of what type of body we're going to have, where the word said we're going to have a body just like Jesus. So let's take it, because this is going to be interesting. This point is going to be interesting. So take a look at this right here. So we're going to go down just a few verses later, and we're going to see what this passage says right here. 46 of 1 Corinthians 15 says, "So, however, the spiritual is not first, but the natural, and afterward the spiritual. The first man was of the earth, made of the dust. The second man is of the Lord from heaven, and was the man of the dust. So also are those who are made of the dust, and is the heavenly man. So also are those who are heavenly. And as we have bore the image of the man of dust, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly man." What is it saying? It's saying we bore the image of Adam, but now that we're going to be glorified, we're going to bear the image of the Christ, Jesus. So why is this important? It's because many people may say, hey, when Jesus came and was glorified, we know that he walked the walls, he disappeared, he was able to do all these different things, but he still had his scars. He still had his scars to show the disciples. He still had his scars. So why wouldn't we have our tattoos? So two things. You are misconstruing a point. We didn't give salvation to anybody. Christ gave salvation to us. And secondly, his scars were to identify his resurrection to his disciples. Because if you saw Jesus offer and said, hey, look, because they didn't believe that this was truly him. But he said, look, touch here. And then they was like, oh, this is him. This is really him. So those scars were only markers to show that his resurrection power, that I really truly resurrected. So, and when God did that, he was going toward he had a salvation mind going toward the salvation of all mankind. So his decision wasn't made from a fleshly mindset. It was made to give salvation to all. When humans got the tattoos, it wasn't made from a godly mindset. It was made from our earthly mindset thinking. We just thought that we was going to, hey, commemorate this person or whatever the case may be because we want to love them and have this mark forever. But that was made from a fleshly, earthly thinking. That wasn't salvation. That wasn't the Christ of the universe giving the salvation. That was made from a fleshly mindset. So you can't say that because he had his scars, I'm gonna have my tattoos. The two don't go together. So how can we reconcile all of this? Because if you go back to verse 43 of 1 Corinthians 15, it says, it was sown in dishonor. Our body was sown in dishonor. It is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness. And it is raised in power. What is that? Our bodies, everything we did was weak. Everything we did was fleshly. Like, meaning, what do I mean by everything we did? I mean, like, everything who we are, or who we are now, is in weakness. It's in flesh. Like, our mind is corrupted. We don't think the things that we ought to think. We don't do the things that we ought to do. But when we are raised, we're going to be raised to glory. We're going to be raised to perfection. So our decisions to do things like this now is not the decisions that are going to stick forever. Our decisions and the things that we do now, it's the same way that all the cuts and the scars and everything that we got from this damaged world, because let's say if you got hurt and you got cut in the face, you think that cut in the face is still going to be there? It's not. It's because your body's going to be glorified. But then somebody may come back and say, no, that was an accidental cut. I made this purposefully to commemorate this person or whatever, and this was something to cherish them. But like I said, how can you cherish somebody that will be in heaven with you? There's no need for that tattoo to no longer be there, because the person may be there. If they're not there, then why would God allow you to keep somebody on your arm that's separated from him from disobeying who he is and not receiving salvation? And like I said, every slogan fails to compare to the glory that's going to be revealed. So there's no need for a slogan on your arm, because you won't need it, because you got everything you need. So there would be no need to keep any tattoos in your glorified body, because there's no reason for it, because they won't compare. And plus, they were sown from a fleshly mindset. Now, I mean, like I said, people have the affinity for the tattoos, but I get it. But we just got to remember, like, who we are, what we're called to be. And God didn't like it in the Old Testament. We have grace to do it, like other many things to do in the New Testament. But it doesn't mean that was something that God wanted us to do, because God said, I made your body perfect. I made it perfect. I made it perfect. So I don't need you to decorate it when I made it beautiful. But I'll see y'all next time, man. Like I said, this is just I mean, it's out of love. So hopefully you can understand that. But like you said, you have the grace to do that now. But I just want everybody to get that and understand. You won't, from a biblical perspective, it doesn't look like you will have that forever. So, but you won't need it then anyway. So, but yeah, I'll see y'all next time, the next episode. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.